Hello everybody, welcome to Cape Rugby TV. Wednesday nights, we're bringing the very best of what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby right here on Cape Town TV. Tell your friends, DSTV channel 263, well obviously you're watching right now, but tell your friends out there so they can join us, find out what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Big thanks to Hisense that has come on board with Cape Rugby TV, of course, as our official technical partner. Score Energy Drinks, as you know, Score on board with Western Province now with the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens tournament. That's coming up later in the year, we're looking forward to that. And then, of course, Dulux Maitland at number 30 Coburg Road. They'll take care of all of your paint requirements and, of course, Color Tone. Color Tone will certainly assist you to get the right shadings in your paint. Let me introduce you to my panel this evening. Jerome Parvater, stalwart, legend of Western Province Rugby, former everything. Jerome, welcome back.
Yeah, JP, good to be back after a few weeks. Good to be back.
And then Morgan Newman, the former Stormers player, Western Province player, Springbok player, Currie Cup player, Sevens player.
Not everything like Jerome. Not everything. You can't say everything though.
But you've been around the block. I mean, Marties and Hammies, those are the two clubs you played for.
That's it, chaps. I've played, just Marties and Hammies, and don't plan on going too wide. You know, it's become like the next Wiley Human.
I don't know if that's your choice really, because from what I hear, there's a couple of 100 clubs out there that's asking you to come and join them.
Look, I wish that was the case, but I'm enjoying my time at Hammies still, so I'll still be there for a while.
Yeah, we're gonna, Jerome, I think you and I need to become sort of player agents. You know, we sell Morgan off, and we'll move him off to the nearest club with the highest bidder.
listen, if you can get me $10, I'm in.
But you're getting paid at Hamilton.
No, I'm not. Categorically, clearly stated.
Yes.
Like, let's just get it clear. Yeah. No, I'm not getting paid at Hamilton. I don't know why people think that, but
Yeah. All right, folks. Speaking about Hamiltons, it was, of course, a massive derby today, or at least over the weekend. Hamiltons were playing against SK Warmers. For those of you that don't know, or have just joined the world of club rugby and watching it now for the first time, Hamilton's, of course, the oldest rugby club in the country, certainly in Western Province. And, of course, SK Warmers, just down the road, maybe 300-400 meters walk between the two clubs. So there's quite a bit of rivalry. Maybe not from a historical perspective, but certainly because the guys are all playing in proximity, very close to each other. So everybody's driving to practice on a Tuesday or a Thursday evening, and the one turns left to go to Hammies, and the other one turns right to go to the track, the old track where SK Warmers practices. So there's a lot of derby permutation, so to speak, between these two clubs. So we went out over the weekend to the Stefan Oval. Do we call it the Oval still?
Stefan A. It is still Stefan A. Nobody really uses the name anymore, but it is still Stefan A. Yeah.
All right. And so it's of course the Stefan A, and you have the Greenpoint track. It was Hamilton's up against SK Warmers. Let's take a look and see what happened in the first half. Well, there we go. First half, halftime score there at least. Hamilton's 36, SK Warmers 12. Jerome, let's move to you. I don't know, Morgan Newman's going to have maybe a bit of a biased approach here because, I don't know, Morgs, did you play in this game, by the way?
I did feature, Jeff. It doesn't look like it on the scoreboard or on the highlights. But,
or on the tries list, because I've got 4 tries there from Harlan Klaasen. I've got 2 tries from Ewan Bartels, John O'Raphael, Luke van der Smit, Dale Wilson, Jason Krill, Valentino Wellman and Sia Lam. All scored tries for Hamiltons.
You know what they say about a good 12, James?
Yes. What? No, I don't.
Everyone outside him performs.
Jerome, it looked like a one-sided game here. I don't know. We'll take a look at the second half in a second, although. But I mean, SK Women certainly can do better than this.
Yeah, I mean, it is a derby game, and I think it's the first time that SK was like it's actually embarrassing to see in the first half the tries the guys went to score. There was no defense. So a derby like this, I mean, SK normally it was a big game against Hamilton. So something terribly went wrong with them there. But there was no defense, and it looked like the guys just gave up. And take nothing away from the way that Hamilton's played. I mean, they keep it away from the big pack of forwards of SK. So that was good of them.
Yeah, Morgs, I mean, would you say that the score is a true reflection of the game? I mean, SK Women's is not an easy side. They proved that a few times already in this season. Yeah,
I mean, look, you know, largely SK Women's have been a bogey side for Hamilton's. You know, it's a big derby. They're always a big crowd, either at Hamilton's or at the track. And I mean, the Hamilton guys were up for the game. You know, no doubt. You know, they after having stumbled against Tigerberg, I think they were definitely up for the game. But I mean, SK Women's really only played for the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it just looked like there was no fitness in their side. And I think their game plan was also to keep it extremely tight, so they kept it around the fringes. And I think the Hamilton's guys, stood up defensively there. Yeah. And then out wide, I think, the experience of Hammies and the quality that we have from Province that have come down has really helped us.
Yeah. Ewan Bartels, of course, leading try scorer in club rugby at the moment, 16 tries so far, and he put two tries on the board there as well. It must be good for you guys to have him. As I say, he's probably playing on your outside.
Yeah, look, he's a great player. He was been injured for the first 3 games of the season with an ankle injury, and now he's come back and really performing well. He's found his form, and he's also been called up to the Western Province 7 side, which is nice for him. He's played there for 3 or 4 years now. So heaps of experience out wide and heaps of pace too. I mean, he's really got wheels to burn. So it's good to have that kind of gas outside the slow coaches like myself.
Jerome, SK, of course, without one of their top point scorers at the moment, Ramiz Osman, out for the season. That must have had a bit of an impact for SK.
Yeah, I don't know. He would have really been Superman on Saturday if he was on the field to cover all that gaps. It is a bit of a blow for them. But the way they defended, like, I mean, he's 15. He's normally the last man. The first line of defense was bad, so he would have been under tremendous pressure also. Yeah.
All right, folks. Let's take a look at the second half. SK put some points on the board, but it looked like after that, it was all systems go for Hamilton's. right, there we go, folks. So final score then 74-19 to Hamilton's. Most of the points then scored, Jerome, looks like, SK only put one try and a conversion on the board in the second half. So probably 35 odd points scored by Hamilton's in the second half. But it looked to me, watching the game, the defense was strong in the center, and then the ball was just going wide for Hamilton's, and I didn't see much drift defense there.
Yeah, fortunately in this game you need every single player on the field to form a defense line. And the SK forwards, if it's a scrum out wide, it's a try. I mean, the backs play, if Hamilton's play to second phase, it's a try because they don't catch up, they don't come form the defense line.
Yeah.
They just stand where they are. No, and I mean, it's, if you're not fit to play this game, you're not going to go anywhere. And unfortunately, they don't look fit. There's no defense line. They don't care. And they didn't even put up a fight. And it's amazing to see how Hamiltons were playing, because that field looked slippery, Morgan. And you guys were still stepping and hit the holes.
How much impact did the field have? I mean, we were expecting a lot of rain on the weekend. It certainly was going to be muddy conditions, and your field did look rather slippery.
Yeah, I mean, look, the rain threatened, but I think we had maybe 2 minutes of rain, so the rain wasn't much of a factor. But when it's rained the whole of Friday, then you kind of a wet game Saturday, whether it rains or not.
You're expecting
it. And the wind was in SK Warmer's favour in the first half.
Yeah.
Yet I just thought that, for me, obviously playing in the game, I obviously have a slightly different opinion, but I just felt like there was no plan from SK Warmers. It just felt like they were hoping for magic from some individual, and you're hoping for magic from your forwards. Unless it's a missed tackle here or there, it's never really going to, amount to much. So, look, I think, yes, Hamiltons were very good, I think, on the day, and that's probably a biased opinion, but I think Hamiltons played really well. But, I'd like to have seen, in the
the one thing we do know is that, we can talk now about the stats. Obviously, the stats come out like this. But one thing we do know is that from week to week, we can see different performances. We're struggling to see consistency, because next week, SK Warmers will put on an absolute monster game.
Yeah.
And we'll be going, where was that game last week when you needed it? And we see this so much in the world of club rugby, that the one week it's an absolute monster game, and the next week you're a little bit calmer. And then, we can't read too much into this. These are still two top sides in Western Province club rugby.
Yeah, look, Jeff, yes, they didn't perform very well against Hamiltons, but if you go through the list of players there, like Madiq Davids and those guys, and Matt Kalebo, who's also there, is a great ball carrier. They've got some senior guys there that have been at SK for years. I've played against these guys for years. I've lost a few times against them at the track at Hamilton's.
Yeah.
When I was playing with Stellenbosch, we lost once or twice to them. So it's not like the players have changed. I think it's just maybe a cultural thing at the club where,
But any club, most clubs have got that. And nobody seems to be 100% consistent. Always at the top. Yes, you get the likes of Marty's maybe, who pretty much stays consistent, but everybody else is 1 week you're up, 1 week you're down, and at the end of the game, at the end of the league, I suppose this comes down to percentages. Is how many games did you get through the league where you were, staying on the top of your game and getting those log points, as you guys call them, those wins. You need those wins, and at the end of the season, you can kind of work out, if you didn't have more games where you were consistent, well, then you're going to find yourself closer to the bottom of the log.
Yeah, they played Belhar 2 weeks ago, SK 3 weeks ago, and just coming off the fast, so everybody expect them to be weak, and they beat Belhar, so it is, as you say, it's a bit up and down for them.
Yeah. All right, folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from a break, we'll be speaking to SK Warmers assistant coach Grant Ford, and of course SK Warmers captain Daniel Erasmus. He was the 2014 West Province Club Player of the Year. Hammy's captain Brandon Groenewald and Hammy's coach Nicky Viljoen. All that after the break. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. Cape Rugby TV, right. For those of you that have just joined us, Western Province Club Rugby, we take a look at all the games or at least all the clubs in Western Province Club Rugby. You can win yourself a case of Score energy drinks. That comes up a little bit later in the show. Just grab your Hisense mobile phone and SMS the word SCORE to 33090. That comes up a little bit later in the show, so don't go away. Tweet us, folks, on Twitter, and we'd like to start seeing your messages come in while you're watching the show. Tell us what you think. Send us some of your questions in while you're watching right now. just find us on @CapeRugbyTV. So if you send out a tweet and tag us in @CapeRugbyTV or using the hashtag #WPClubRugby, we want your messages to come in while you are watching the show right now. So if you're sitting on your couch, grab your phone, go on to Twitter and message us and just tell us what you're thinking. Send us a couple of questions and we'll start looking at seeing how we can share your messages live here on Cape Rugby TV. So just share it while you can. All right, folks, we managed to catch up with SK Warmers assistant coach, Grant Ford. He's, of course, the son of SK's head coach, Kennedy Ford.
Yeah, no, any team that comes to Amis to come play them here at home, you can expect a tough one. It's one of the top teams in the league. You always expect a tough one when you come to Amis home, and yeah, today they just came at us. I think in a nutshell, Amis, their conditioning and their fitness is just, second to none. We couldn't match them. I think in the first 20 minutes, we were quite into the game. We had them. And 2-3 quick tries that they went to go score. Bad defense from our side, and our guys just couldn't play catch-up rugby. I don't think it's that, not to make excuses. I mean, the scoreboard speaks for itself. But Thursday night at practice, we had about 5 to 6 guys sitting on the side. And I'm speaking about, our bigger, more experienced players in our team sitting on the side with flu. And, the guys, for the commitment of the club, they still, stuck it through today, and they said they're going to try their best. And, like I said, I'm not making excuses. The scoreboard speaks for itself, but I think that also kind of hurt us before the game. Yeah, I think that's one of the toughest draws we could have gotten was to get Amis, and the very next week we get Marty's. But I'm sure the boys will bounce back. We're going to take it back to the to the drawing board on Monday. And, for the next week and a half that we have, we'll try our best to prepare. And then we'll take Marty's as they come.
SK Warmers assistant coach Grant Ford. Unfortunately, head coach Kennedy Ford was not available for the interview at the time. SK Warmers Daniel Erasmus, of course, captain at SK at the moment. As I mentioned earlier on, he was the Western Province Club Rugby Player of the Year in 2014. I think we're going to have to roll out some of those old videos where we interviewed him back in the day. In the meantime, he's, of course, captaining at SK Warmers at the moment. Let's hear what he has to say after the game.
Ja, baie taaf. Geweet gaan nie maklik wees om Amis toe te kom nie. Hulle kom van 'n verloor af. En dit maar seer om van 'n verloor af te kom, en as jy 'n span na verloor kry, is gewoonlik word jy 'n slagower van 'n stelling soos die vandag. Ek dink ons plan was om hulle in die middelveld te hou. Ons weet ons 'n klein bietjie stadig buitekant. Maar hulle het baie agtergekom dat as hulle ons wyd vat, dan maak hulle basies die spel oop. So goed vir hulle. Hulle het gou ons ontbloot vir die middag. So met telling maar so lyk soos wat dit lyk. Ek dink dit sal 'n bietjie beter gaan die week. Ons weet Maties as hy 'n wak of 'n weeg situasie nie is, hy met alles gaan wat hy het. So ek dink ons sal 'n bietjie meer fokus op ons eie spel en dan dinge van afvat, maar wel baie beter voorberei vir volgende week.
Right, welcome back, folks. Right, so Daniel Erasmus Jerome, regardless of the performance on the day, Daniel brings a lot of experience to this team. 2014 Club Rugby Player of the Year. I mean, those are some big accolades there. Obviously he is the guy that managed to keep Morgan Newman out the pitch, because he does play centre for SK.
I played with him in 2014.
Oh, did you guys play together?
Yeah, I played inside him again, you see.
So you guys played together, in fact, yeah.
Yeah, I played inside Daniel for a number of years actually, and unbelievable rugby player. I mean, he really does bring a dynamic to that side, and I think he's a great leader too. I think just the pity, when you're playing at outside centre, if you're not getting a platform to work from, then it's always difficult to perform. So, but again, he tried his heart out throughout the game, played for 80 minutes, and really, gave the back stick when he got the ball.
He shows a good spirit there, Jerome. He brings that experience of the world of high-level Western Province Club Rugby, but the experience and the maturity that he brings to the side is certainly a positive for SK.
Yeah, look, Denbel is one player at SK. He's been there for a while now. He's one player that plays hard out. And unfortunately, a few years ago, I think he would have played professional rugby, but because of his work, he could not train during the day. So he could have been much higher up, the quality player that he is. But he's been with SK for long, and I think he will stay there till he retire.
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't that what club rugby is about? You stick around in the club, you look after the people that you play with. So that's a fantastic attitude.
Yeah, that's great of him, and that's the type of person he is, JP.
Yeah. All right, folks, we'll move now to the Hamiltons, captains and coaches. We speak first to Brandon Groenewald. He's captain at Hammies. He's, of course, playing at lock, and many of you will know that he took over from Jody Birch.
Ja, ons was happy met die score. Ek bedoel, het was 'n bietjie taaf geweest. Altyd 'n tawe game teen SK. Gelukkig was dit by die huis geweest, maar ja, soos wat ek sê, happy met die score. Ja, soos wat ek sê, dis altyd 'n tough game teen SK. Ons het self geweet dit gaan taaf wees. Ja, ek dink die ouens het lekker saam gestaan en saam getrek en wat ook al, en ja, op die einde van die dag het ons 'n goeie score opgesit. Ja, kyk, ons het geweet die weer gaan nie lekker saam speel. Ons het geweet en ek gedink dit gaan reën. So ons het 'n bietjie gewerk op die forwards. Ons wou die bal bietjie tight hou. Maar gelukkig het dit toe nie gereën nie, so die backs kon ook bietjie gejol het. Ja, ek dink ons het goeie kombinasies in die backline en die ouens het net lekker gejel vandag. So ja, daar is ek bly. Ja, kyk, Durban is ook altyd taaf. Ek dink al ons games nou gaan taaf wees. Durban is op 'n high, so ons gaan ek dink ons gaan 'n harde week hê en 'n harde game Saterdag, maar ons sien uit. Ons is excited.
Brandon Groenewald plays at lock for Hamilton's, of course, captain there. Morgs, it certainly looks like Hamilton's got the pedigree. You guys got a couple of big names there. Former professional player himself.
Yeah, Brandon comes from, I played with him at the Cheetahs, funny enough, years ago when he was still a youngster. And yeah, I mean, look, I've spoken about him plenty before, and he's got the respect of all the players, and he's a leader, he's a grafter. He's not one of those captains that speaks much, but he definitely on the field, he's one that lets he's played with the talking, which is nice. He's got, at Hammies we've got a lot of, a few big mouths like myself and Shane Ballender that do a lot of the talking, and he's just one, always a cool head. And literally just, gets his hands dirty in rucks and a captain that leads from the front.
Yeah. Jerome, how important is it to have a captain that gets stuck in?
Yeah, it seems like Hammies is doing something right, because they every year they get good leaders in. I mean, to take over from Jody Birch, I've spoken to Jody yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's still doing things for other people. He's got a youth ministry, and he's mentoring some young guys. So, I mean, with Brendan there, as Morgan said, he's a great leader, and you can see he leads from the front. So, yeah, that's very important to have a great leader in your team.
Right, folks, speaking about leadership, Nicky Viljoen has, of course, taken over from Anton Muhlmann as the coach. We of course, spoke to him after the UCT game. That was a close game, but let's hear what he has to say now after SK.
Yeah, listen, I was a little bit worried about the weather, just evening things out. We wanted to spread them wide and just play a bit of running rugby. We worked hard the last 2 weeks with regards to that, and bit of wind, a little bit of rain, but nothing too hectic. Yeah, we learned a lot from that loss, and ultimately we see it as a positive. We weren't ready, or not. I wouldn't say we weren't ready for that game. We were ready. It's just we didn't pitch, but that's water under the bridge. It made us a stronger squad. It made us strong individuals, and we learned a lot. We took a lot of positive from that loss. Yeah. Again, we've come a long way with this team. Just with regards to just knowing the person on the inside and the outside of you, and it showed today. Game was a little bit loose, and we just picked up from a drop ball, and we went and scored tries. So yeah, good to see. Yeah, I don't want to read too much of what they do. We need to grow. We need to step it up this week. A lot to work with into next week, and for preparation for Durban. Yes, they've done well so far, but just a different game, new challenges, and ready for it.
All right, welcome back, everybody. All right, Nicky Viljoen, head coach at Hemmy's, amongst the game that he's talking about there, the loss that he's taking so positively, is of course the loss against Tygerberg.
Yeah, I mean, it was. It didn't go down well with us, and but yeah, we found all the positives we could out of the loss, and nice to see that we can bounce back from a performance like Tygerberg and put in one like we did against SK. It's funny when I watch Nicky talk. It's funny how him and Brendan are so alike in not big talkers, but Nicky's a passionate coach who knows what he's talking about. He's also played at Hammy's, been at Hammy's for years, and I think very similar player to what Brendan Groenewald is now.
Yeah, Jerome, we were speaking before about a club being in its zone. You've got about 18, 15, 16, 17, 18 games in the league. You need to take a loss somewhere along the line. Do you think?
Yeah, that's always good because you don't want to lose that game that's very important, the last game that's important. So as Nicky was saying, I mean, he's very humble after that big one, talking about the loss of Tygerberg. So I mean that was an eye opener for them. Maybe they took things for granted, and obviously you think you're at home, so you need to play. Any team on the day can beat you. So I think they've gone past this. So yeah. So.
All right. Right, folks, Cape Rugby TV. Right, as you see behind me, Score Energy Drinks, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV. Now, if you want to win yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks, all you need to do is SMS the word SCORE to 33090. 33090, and you put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score Energy Drinks. Terms and conditions apply. And congratulations to last week's winner, Fatima Viljoen. Fatima walks away with a case of Score Energy Drinks. Fatima, somebody from Cape Rugby TV will be in touch with you shortly, and you'll be able to enjoy yourself that Score Energy Drinks, of course, filled with caffeine and guarana, and it's the perfect energy booster that you will need at the end of a very tiring day. I suggest you don't drink it immediately after watching a Cape Rugby TV show. You might stay awake for a little bit. Right, folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the ad break, it's going to be time for us to take a look at some of the other results in Western Province Club Rugby over the weekend. And then we'll take a look at the logs as well. Many people have been wanting to take a look at the logs and see where we're standing and which clubs are up and which clubs are down. And, of course, the fixtures coming up a little bit later. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. Cape Rugby TV. Right, let's take a look now at the results in Super League A over the weekend. It was Durbell 48-19 over Primrose. Hammies, as you know, 74-19 over SK, and then Tygerberg 40-18 over Belhar. Let's take a quick focus on those results there. Jerome, Durbanville with a strong win over Primrose. Durbanville look like they're getting stronger or starting to settle into it. The beginning of the season was a bit up and down, but it looks like Bobby and his boys are now getting it together.
Yeah, after a bad start, and I think it's 6 in a row now for Durbell.
Yeah.
I think the guys understand what Bobby wants now, because he's got a lot of new players. And Primrose also, they put up a big fight in the first half. It was 13-17, I think, something like
close
that.
Game
in the first half, yeah. So they put up a fight, but then Durbell also just opened up the gate.
The other game, of course, over the weekend was at the Supersport Challenge, which was Tygerberg against Belhar. Morgs, I don't know if you watched that there, but Tygerberg, again, they look like, and they continue to be the dominant force. I mean, they beat you guys, they beat Hamilton's, and I believe, are they playing Marty's this week? Or SK's playing Marty's this week? But Tygerberg's playing against Marty's this week. I mean, if there's a team that can upset Marty's, we've always said Tygerberg could be that team. Yeah,
look, I mean, it's a Tygerberg side that heaps of experience in that Tygerberg side. Players that have been there for a while, coached under Ricky Peterson, which I think is also nice thing, good for the club. So, yeah, I mean, I think they'll be taking a big scalps, and if Stellenbosch don't don't do their homework, then I think we can expect to see an upset. I think the top of the log in Super League A is quite jammed, so I don't think Stellenbosch will be taking it lightly, and they've been in this position before. But Tygerberg definitely a classy outfit, and I think they are doing really well this year, and I think they'll continue to do so.
Well, they're sitting at number 4 in the log at the moment, Tygerberg, and they've still got a game in hand. Hamilton's played 11 games, Falls Bay's played 10 games, Durbell's played 10 games, Tygerberg 9, UCT 11. So if you're looking compared Durbell to Tygerberg, they've got 2 games in hand. If they had to put on 10 points there, they could jump to the top of the log, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's probably shows the class that they have in that side. Heaps of experience, and very good Tiger side this year.
Jerome, I suppose one of the things that everybody's waiting for now is to see Marty's make an appearance again. I mean, they've only played 5 games this entire season. They're sitting at number 6 on the log at the moment, which is, of course, something that we know is not going to stay there in that position. They played 5 games. They've got 6 games in hand compared to Hamilton's. Are we expecting a bit of a straight run with Marty's, or the other clubs are going to now have all that game time in hand?
I don't think it's a straight run for them, but they've played 2 weeks ago. They've played the USA tournament. They won the USA tournament, so they'll be ready.
Yeah.
But I think if Ricky and his boys pitch up on the day, they can upset Marty's.
Well, I mean, the one thing that we know for sure is that Western Province Club Rugby's standard of rugby in Super League A is probably one of the toughest leagues that there is, and I don't think we can comfortably say Marty's, if they do well in the Universities League, that it's going to be easy at home. If we look at the teams that they're going to be up against, I'm not sure who all they've played so far, but Hamilton's will give Marty's a run for their money. False Bay, Durban, Tygerberg, UCT will give them a run for their money. I mean, there's a number of teams out there that can knock sort of put a block on Marty's.
It's not like 4 or 5 years ago, JP, where you can say this team will definitely beat the other, because all the teams are now where Marty's normally dominate the league. It's not like that anymore, so anything can happen.
All right, folks, before we move into the results in Super League B, just a reminder, tweet us. You can use the tag @CapeRugbyTV or use the hashtag #WPClubRugby. We're looking for your messages. Send us your message while you're watching the show right now. Just pick up your phone and send it out on Twitter, and we're looking to feed your messages live to the audience that is out there. So keep sharing your comments, and we'll reshare in turn. In Super League B now, well, it was a win for Hamlets, 38-36 over Violets. Hands and Hearts, 37-31 over Kraaifontein. Paul put one over Belleville, 39-16. Rangers, 19-10 over Kuilsrivier. And then, of course, St. George's, 46-28 over Collegians. Jerome, some monster matches there. Hamlets, only a 2-point difference between them and Violets. Violets, they're obviously hungry to get into the league. They're making a comeback after a bit of a break as well. But that would have been a big game, only a 2 points difference.
Yeah, it's good. It's actually good to see that the Ambulance is back on the winning track.
Yeah.
They struggle a bit because of the 2 guys of the club who died, but it's good to see that they're back on track, because they're quality side. And Violets gave them a run, and it's not easy to go to Ambulance and to go get 36 points there, so well done to them.
Then the other big game, of course, I'm going to go through all of these games in Super League B, but Hands and Hearts will be happy with this result. This is a derby match. As we said last week, Kraaifontein is just across the road, Hands and Hearts just across the road. Typical derby match. Hands and Hearts will be happy with this win, 37-31 over Kraaifontein. Big result for Hands.
Yeah, big result for them, and it's actually a great result. That's now a typical derby. That's how it's supposed to be. A draw would have been good, but that's actually how a typical derby look.
Now then, I've got to ask you, what happened with Belleville against Paul? I mean, Paul, we know, is the strong side coming out of the Paul region. Belleville, 16. They've had a class outfit. They've had some great games this season. We know they've got a very, very dangerous backline. Maxi Stoffels and the boys have been doing a fantastic job this year. But it looks like Paul was just too strong on the day.
Yeah, I mean, Belleville, they've also been beating sides that, they beat Kraaifontein. So it's that league, the Super B is a bit up and down, JP. There, 1 week team win by far, the other week they lose. So it's a bit up and down.
Morgs, everybody's been saying that Super League B is the toughest league this year. That's what do they call it when you go into these whirlpool? It's the League of Death. The Super League B, every single week we see it's a derby. Everybody's so close. And I mean, one of those games there was Rangers, Kuilsrivier. Rangers just down the road in Surrey. Kuilsrivier had to travel. Kuilsrivier is looking to set some sort of dominance after coming down from Super League A, but Rangers, Ebi Murat and his boys, just too strong on the day.
Yeah, Rangers down the road from me, so I've probably got a soft spot for them. But Super League B for me is just like, it really is what you say. It's the one place where I go after my game, after we're done with playing. I go onto social media, and the first thing I'm doing is checking who's gone up, who's gone down, and there's a real hype around Super League B. And I think rightly so, because obviously we know Super League A is not an easy league to get into, to come into. Sure. So you want really tough opposition week in and week out in Super League B, because once you've won that league, I think that's the one league. If you look at, or even if you go across the results, I think there's no big margins. You know,
Nothing. This certainly this year in Super League B, we haven't seen any massive differences.
Exactly, and I think that is testament to how we want each league to be. You know, in Super League A, we tend to find a little bit of a divide.
Yeah.
And in Super League B, across the board, team number 1 can beat team number 10 on any day.
It's a fantastic league. I think that Super League B is the league that everybody's watching at the moment. And then St George's, Collegians just came off a victory to Villages. And now it's St George's. St George's pulled one off just over Helderberg the other day. Again, close, must have been a close. Forget about the points, 46-28, but this would have been a cracker of a match.
Yeah, and I mean St George's. I mean they step up this year, beating Helderberg also. So they must have done something right this year, and but they're really busy with something. So yeah, but and I know Collegians. I heard they really put up a fight. So it was a bit close. But
well, I tell you something. Wait until we see Collegians play against Violets.
I want to throw the cat amongst the pigeons and say, imagine we had those fixtures.
Yeah.
Imagine we had those fixtures.
Yeah.
Okay, I know central venue is never going to happen, but at a central venue, at a central venue, I reckon 30,000 people.
30,000 people.
If you go through however many people were at those games, and you put a central venue for that weekend for those specific fixtures.
It was a great idea. I love that idea.
I reckon
Super League B tournament day, championship day.
I mean, it would be
wow. Yeah, imagine the rugby. I mean, the amount of tries and games and stepping and line breaks that you would see at that game would be absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So those are results in Super League B. Certainly the league that everybody's focusing at the moment, probably drawing the most attention. Really, really close games in all of these games every week in a derby match. All right, let's quickly take a look at the results in Super League C now. It was All Saints with a 27-12 win over Vineyards. Strand United pulled one off over Elsie's 20 points to 8. Laguna and Busy Bees. Well, it was a win for Busy Bees, 16-13 over Laguna. Langa 29-0 over Young Stars. Macassar went down to Scottsdene, and then Wraithby with a 1 point loss to Strand. In fact, you know, I know we're talking a lot about Super League B, but Super League C, it's just as close down there. You know, Wraithby and Strand, derby match, 1 point difference. Scottsdene, Macassar, a close game there for them. The guys at Scottsdene will be happy with that. But a lot of close games there. Busy Bees and Laguna, there's a bit of a derby match as well. Busy Bees will be very happy with that result. Alfred Kewana, Busy Bees, of course, training at the Langa Sports Field. He'll be thrilled with that.
Yeah, Alfred is really putting a lot of work there, so they on a rise. One disappointing team there in that league is Young Stars, because they've always been a force. So something's terribly wrong there. I don't know what Roger Smith is doing there, but they don't look too good at the moment.
Well, I tell you, we're going out to we'll be going out to Langa this weekend, where Busy Bees has got a home ground advantage. So we're looking forward to that. Let's take a look now at the results in in the regional leagues. In the southern leagues, Noordelijkers 26-0 over Titans. Young Wesley's 59-5 over Silverleaf. Kailicha 27-31 lost to Van der Stel and Silvertree, with a win over Temperance and 32-11. Young Ideas went down to Caledonia Roses, 48 points to 6. Big result there for Callies. I'm sure Muhammad and the boys will be happy at Callies with a massive result there. In the Par League, incidentally, Simondium 45-17 over Albions. Paul Rangers went down to Riverstones, and then Young Gardens 20 points to 13. I believe Young Gardens had their golf day over the weekend to Mario and the boys. Mario Williams, of course, the chairperson of the Paarl region. To Mario and the guys at Young Gardens, congratulations. I believe is in order on another successful golf day. I know every year you guys go out there and you raise so much funds for the club and for the players in the region. So.
Cape Rugby TV football?
Cape Rugby TV football is always
James,
invited.
I think I've seen your golf.
Yes, I know. This is the reason.
Jerome and I play golf. I don't know when last you've been on the golf course.
I don't play golf.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's got the best equipment.
He's got the looks.
Yeah.
He's got everything. He's got everything. Listen, if you see JP on a golf course,
he looks the part
with that clubs.
I don't
he doesn't play the part, but he looks the part.
Let me just, for the record, I don't play golf. I hit balls. All right, that is it.
Barely.
Forget about the game, the course. I don't care as long as you just.
Where did you get that club shirt?
All right, let's not. This is not the JP Nodia golf show. All right,
Well,
definitely not.
I was
All
going to say.
right, we got it, folks. We're gonna take an ad break. When we come back, we'll try and restore some normality to Cape Rugby TV before JP Nodia gets picked on even further by Morgan Newman, who has yet to sink a single putt this year. Back after the break. All right, welcome back, everybody. Right, as we promised earlier on, we said we would take a quick look at the logs. Let's take a look at the logs in Super League A now. We'll just go through the sort of essential tops and bottoms. Hamiltons are sitting at the top in Super League A. False Bay, Durban, Tygerberg, UCT, and Marties in 6th place. But as we said, Marties has got 6 games in hand. Teams under threat there a little bit. NTK, Primrose, and Villages are going to have to start upping the game, as will UWC. If they want to stay out of the relegation zone. In Super League B, Helderberg, St. George's, Hamlet, Franschhoek, very, very close in this league. Villages and Kraaifontein in the top 6. Kuilsriver now sitting at 7. The last 2 teams there, Kraaifontein and Kuilsriver, still got a couple of games in hand. At the bottom of the log, with a few games in hand, Violets, Collegians, and Solarians. All 3 of those teams will be scrambling to make sure that they stay out of the relegation space. Right, All Saints, Busy Bees, and Macassar, of course, sitting at the top 3 in Super League C, and the bottom is Elsie's, Hamadias, and Lagunya. Maisi Pumalele, Manenberg Rangers, and Western Zebras, sitting in the top 3 in City League, and at the bottom is Young Ideas, Percy's, and Watsonia. Meanwhile, in the Northern League, Blue Jets, Van der Stel, Blue Stars, and Imikawi, Strand Pioneers are at the bottom. In Southern League, it's Young Wesley's doing fantastic there. Noordlikers Retreat, those are your top 3 in Southern League. And then Silverleaf, Young Brothers, and Bishop Labors. All right, before we go any further, let me just point out there, we got a phone call from Philip, the guys at Young Wesley's. It's one of the few teams in the league this year, folks. In fact, Blue Jets has won 9 out of 9. In other words, every game they've played, they've won. And then the other team is Young Wesley's. Young Wesley's in the Southern League have won 10 out of 10 of their matches. So it's a 100% success record. One of the very few teams in Western Province Rugby that has managed to pull off a 100% success rate. So as I said earlier on, Blue Jets the other team. And then, of course, if we look at the go back to the logs, we'll wrap it up with the Par League. Simonium is sitting in the top together with Allendale and Lower Par. And at the bottom is Vintmill, Albions, and Peril United. All right, folks, let's take a look at the fixtures coming up this weekend. Stellenbosch are up against Tygerberg in Super League A. Jerome, Marties, and Tygerberg. Stellenbosch coming now back. This is what we're expecting. It's going to be a monster game. Everybody's been saying Tygerberg has the ability to topple the Marties Giants.
Yeah, that's gonna be the game of the weekend, JP, I think.
Donny Craven Stadium, Morgs, you've played at that stadium many times before. What is the Tygerberg will be looking for here? What will make the difference between Tygerberg and Stellenbosch on the day?
Well, I think, if I can reverse that question, I think if you look at Stellenbosch, they're not going to be playing against students. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's an experienced Tygerberg side that go there, experienced players, a bunch of men, they do the hard graft. So it won't be like the USA tournament where they're just a bunch of students. And it's going to be physical out there. And if Stellenbosch don't put their hand up and really, match the physicality, then I kind of side with Jerome in saying that Tygerberg could cause an upset here.
All right, then Primrose are up against Brackenfell. Peniel Villages take on Union Mill. Hamilton's and Durban. Jerome, this is the game that's going to be very much a tough match. Hamilton's come off a couple of wins now. They took a knock against Tygerberg. Durban, we said, is getting stronger and stronger. This can go any way.
Yeah, I just hope that Hamilton's guys have relaxed about that big score against SK. If that's not the case, then Durban surely will be the team to watch also. But that's also going to be a tough one. I mean, Hamilton's are up for the game at Hamilton, so yeah, it's going to be a good one.
All right, Morgs, the other game now on the weekend in Super League A is False Bay up against Vix. Vix is what your Marties Stellenbosch second side. False Bay has been dominant in the season. This is going to be a tough game as well.
Yeah, there again, False Bay obviously very strong side, but Vix are mid-table and they've picked up 1 or 2 big results. They've beaten Durban early in the year, and 1 or 2 other teams. So again, I think False Bay may take this one. But if the right side, False Bay side doesn't pitch up, then there's no reason why Vix
can go the other way.
Can't cause an upset.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the fixtures coming up in Super League B. this weekend is Villagers. Yeah, we spoke about the excitement factor in Super League B. Let's see if we can find it again here. All right, so it's Villagers up against Helderberg. Villagers will be looking for some points there, and Helderberg, of course, certainly looking to establish their dominance in Super League B. Violets and Paarl, St. George's, Hands and Hearts, Silurians and Hamlets, Kuilsriver up against Franschhoek, Kraaifontein and Rangers, Collegians and Young Peoples. I would say, Jerome, that this isn't as many derby matches as we looked at in the results over the weekend. It looks like now Super League B, the teams that are normally close together, the Hands and Hearts and the Kraaifontein and so on, they're playing a little bit further away now.
Yeah, and I think the game there is definitely Villagers in Helderberg.
Yeah.
Because Irvin is doing a good job with Helderberg and Clinton van Rensburg is at Villagers. So two good coaches against each other, and I know their teams are well coached. So that's going to be a close game.
All right, so let's move into Super League C now. Young Stars and Strand, they're playing at the track. Vineyards and Kylemore, Wraithby are up and Universals at least up against Goodwood. They're playing at Wraithby. Lunga Busy Bees. This is our pick of the weekend, folks. Lunga Busy Bees. This is where Cape Rugby TV will be going. Lagunya and Elsie's at Nyanga Stadium. Amadeus and Strand United and All Saints and Scottsdene. Meanwhile, in there we go, poster that has come in from Alfred and the guys at Busy Bees. So as we said, it's Lunga up against Busy Bees this Saturday. Of course, the games start at 1:30. The main game is at 4 o'clock. So great to see the posters coming in there. It's being shared on social media at the moment. This is our Cape Rugby TV pick of the week. We'll be watching Lunga against Busy Bees. This game, of course, was postponed before. It was the weekend of the storm. Many of you will remember that the storm that came and hit. Now I finally work out why our team's called the Stormers. Because we finally had a storm in Cape Town. All right, don't worry, guys. I'm gonna leave it at that. that was my humor contribution for the entire show. All right,
a bit like your golf trip.
Yeah, you mean a bit erratic, just flying sideways. Okay, so that's where we're going to be. If you want to watch a derby match, come and watch this game. Get down to Lunga this weekend. All right, so moving into the City League fixtures then. Western Zebras up against Silvertree, Watsonia and Progress, Police Young Ideas, Perseverance and Callies, Mussies take on Tech, and then of course Manenberg Rangers are up against Temperance and Cities. In the Southern Leagues we see Titans and Atlantis, Silverleaf and Rocklands. Meanwhile in the Northern League, Van der Stel take on Bluesditch, Stelkor and Delft, Imikawi and Kailicha, Blue Stars up against Strand Pioneers, and Blakes take on Eerste Rivier. Right then, Jerome, let's quickly talk about the Stormers. The Stormers are conference winners. Final game this week, but the boys look like they will be hungry for it, and we're expecting an absolutely packed stadium at Newlands this weekend.
Yeah, I think Stormers are fortunate to have a tough game against the Bulls last week. Because normally it's the other way around. You get a sort of an easy game, then you go into a quarters against a quality side like the Chiefs. So they had a tough run last week, and they look focused at training.
Yeah.
And I think Flecky and the boys, they want to go a bit further than just the conference winners.
You want that home ground advantage now, Morgs. You're playing against the Chiefs. Everybody said before the season it's going to be a difficult year because it's the New Zealand teams. Well, now we've got a New Zealand teams, and we've got one of the toughest New Zealand teams to play against. We desperately need this home ground advantage, and we could take them at home.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Stormers, they got their work cut out for them this weekend. But, people take for granted how much home advantage can work at Newlands. And I've been fortunate enough to play in front of a packed Newlands. And it really does give you that 16th man that I think the Stormers are going to need this weekend. You
think it's going to be a packed stadium? You think Newlands is going to be full this weekend?
I really would like to see people come out and support the Stormers in their droves because, because it really does help, chaps. I mean, as someone that's been there before, it really that helps, and they're going to need it. I mean, if you look at that Stormers, the Chiefs side, with the amount of All Blacks that are there, amount of guys that are currently on form that played for the All Blacks against the British Lions, that are in that Chiefs side.
Jerome, what I'm loving at the moment is Damien Willemse, Cheslin Colby, Siobela Sanatla. I mean, we've got some gas to burn. Dylan Lades. There's some real talent in the back line.
Yeah, I mean, Damien, for a 19-year-old, he played like a guy that's been there for quite a while. So he's doing really well. Cheslin at the moment is doing well. Dylan Lades at 15. So we've got Evie and Damien. So there's a great back line. But as Morgan said, they play against quality opposition, and their coach said this week that Newlands is like a second home ground for them, so it's going to be a tough one.
All right, folks, we're going to leave it at Jerome Parvata. Thanks for joining us on Cape Rugby TV. We'll see you again, hopefully. Have you got a pick for the weekend? Where are you going?
He'll be at Hammy's Double, without a doubt.
Hammy's Double?
I think Hammy's...
Don't be so sure.
I don't know what he's got.
I think Hammy's Double, JP, that's going to be a tough one.
And yourself, Morgs?
I'll be with Jerome, James.
You'll be with Jerome. All right, listen, guys, best of luck for the weekend. We know that it's always lekker, exciting rugby. It doesn't matter where you go. Morgs, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, always good to be here. Thanks for having me, James.
Right, folks, that's, of course, a wrap from us here at Cape Rugby TV. Don't forget, you can join us this weekend on the side of the field. Langa up against Busy Bees. It's going to be a cracker of a derby match. And we're looking forward to seeing what Alfred and the boys brings to the party. So Busy Bees are taking on Langa, so it's a home ground advantage for both sides. In fact, we'll see you there. Have yourself a fantastic rugby weekend. See you again next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.